I was out of choices after being turned down for jobs on several occasions. I felt like my life was over after my most recent interview that changed my life. The CEO, who had been silent up until that point, stopped me as I was ready to exit the venue. "Where did you get that floral tie?" "This one, huh?" "It's—" The CEO's face went ghostly pale when I spoke, which set up an unexpected turn of events. "David Jones is my name. My dad and I have been together ever since my mom passed away from illness when I was a child. Elementary school was the most difficult time to be a single parent. Sam, my father, showed me all of my parents' affection, including taking time off work to go to school functions. However, the fact that he was the only father among mothers mortified me. Dad, please, you don't have to come to school anymore." "What do you say?" "Parents have a responsibility to attend their children's classes." He was an inherently serious and sincere father, thus he was unable to relate to my feelings. I began keeping school events hidden from my father because I was annoyed with him. "Isn't it time for your field trip, David? I'll leave work to accompany you." This year, it was canceled. "Do not be concerned." I said a falsehood. I snuck a $10 out of Dad's wallet to buy lunch on the day of the field trip. However, a few days later, Dad confronted me after learning about the trip from the mother of a classmate. "Why did you say the field trip was canceled?" "I'm sorry." "What did you do for lunch?" "I bought it at the store." "Where did the money come from?" At last, I admitted to taking cash out of his wallet. I was shocked when Dad silently gave me another $10 because I had expected a severe reprimand. "If you stole money, it was because you didn't have enough allowance." "I'm responsible for that. I'll raise your allowance going forward." "Dad, don't steal again." "I'm sorry." He gave me a tender hug while I sobbed. Dad would always ask me why I made a mistake before reprimanding me. Clarifying the causes is essential. Knowing the cause will help us stop it from happening again. In middle school, I developed a respect for Dad, who I used to find annoying. He was unable to attend school functions due to his business commitments. With assistance from the officers of each class, a large cleanup was organized for all of the kids at the conclusion of the year. My father, however, was unable to take part. He should have completed his overtime that night, but he chose not to return home. I grabbed an umbrella and headed to the station to fetch him just as the snow started to fall. I noticed a figure moving in the dark as I took a shortcut via a middle school. I recognized my dad as I shone my flashlight. I discovered him at night, pulling weeds in the playground after work during the school-wide cleanup that he was unable to attend. My heart was overflowing with emotion as I watched my dad faithfully carry out his duties in the snow. "Dad, you'll catch a cold." "Hi, David. I'll be finished shortly." My father was kneeling and plucking weeds when I held an umbrella over him. For the first time, I was proud of him when I saw the tidy yard. My father was someone I admired. Every morning, he dressed in a suit and headed to work. I pulled his suit off the dresser and put it on one day when I was by myself at home. His favorite of the ties hanging inside was the one with the floral design. "That tie is really nice, isn't it?" I once questioned him when he wore it and looked in the mirror. "It is, indeed. I reserve this tie for exceptional occasions. Someday, I want to wear that tie too." "It's too early for you, David. I'll give it to you when you graduate college and start working." "Really? You promise, right?" "It's a definite promise." He laughed, and we made a pinky promise. However, in my second year of middle school, my father was hospitalized and passed away unexpectedly. Though his surgery was successful, and he was recovering well, his condition suddenly worsened. Maybe he had a premonition of his death, but before passing, he called me to his hospital room and handed me the floral tie. "Take good care of this tie." "Can I really have it?" "Well, thank you." Seeing me struggle to tie it properly, he smiled. That night, my father passed away. The floral tie became a keepsake of my father. After his death, I was taken in by my paternal grandparents and started attending school from their house. Maybe because they felt sorry for me, losing my mother at a young age, my grandparents really doted on me. I grew really close to them too. Having lost both my mother and father to illness, I found myself all alone. But thankfully, I was able to get back on my feet thanks to my grandparents' support. They were poor, so I couldn't ask for new gym clothes. My grandmother, skilled in sewing, repaired my torn gym clothes by hand. It was a bit embarrassing, but I wore the patched-up gym clothes to make her happy. Doesn't David's gym clothes look weird? They're patched up. So lame. The boys in my class made fun of me. I became their target, often ambushed on my way home from school. "Hey, David, you can easily shoplift from the convenience store. The old lady has bad eyesight. Steal something. Anything." But I refused. My father, who lived a life of honesty and integrity, was my pride. I couldn't tarnish that pride. "You insolent jerk." The boys circled me, ready to throw punches. "Back off, guys. If you're going to fight, do it one-on-one." Standing in front of me, blocking the way, was my classmate Bob, a member of the judo club. He was a school hero who'd even won a county tournament. The boys backed off with wry smiles. "Thanks, Bob." After I thanked him, Bob said, "You know, I've always thought you were a great guy, David." "Really? Why?" "Wearing that patched-up gym uniform with such pride. It shows guts." "It's not that ragged." "Oops, sorry about that." From then on, Bob and I became best friends. Dad promised to give me his favorite floral tie when I graduated college and got a job. But since I didn't want to be a financial burden to my parents any further, I decided to enter the workforce immediately after graduating from high school. Working at a small-town factory meant no suits or floral ties for me. At the factory, we handled everything from tiny screws to large machinery, working in shifts. During the late shift, I had to work through the night until morning, so I decided to move into the dormitory located behind the factory. Inheriting sincerity and earnestness from my father, I diligently tackled every small task that came my way. Having you here, David, has truly been a lifesaver. Work's been going smoother than before, and the factory manager is thrilled. I was happy to be praised by the older ladies I worked with. I realized that working hard sincerely helps everyone, so I started to put even more effort into my job. 3 years later, I was called into the factory manager's office. "Thanks to your hard work, David, we've got more orders. How about being the supervisor of the administration section?" "But I'm only 21. "Is that okay?" Age doesn't matter in the real world. It's all about skills. So, joining the company right out of high school, I was promoted to the position of foreman at the site in just my 3rd year. But my joy was short-lived. 6 months later, the situation at the small-town factory took a turn. Suddenly, our parent company merged with a large corporation, and a new boss arrived. The manager, named Johnson, constantly bragged about his high educational background and elite status. Nowadays, small-town factories are creating innovative products that amaze the world. It's no longer the era of hiring only high school graduates. True to his word, new employees who graduated from university science programs began to join our factory. While Manager Johnson fawned over the employees with college degrees, he blatantly ridiculed high school graduates like me. "Hey David, you've got a decent name, but just a high school diploma. Aren't you embarrassed? Maybe you should change your name." "No, my father gave me this name." "Idiot, you're obviously joking. This is just what high school grads are like." "I'm sorry." "Why are you apologizing? Did you mess something up?" "No, it's not like that." "Then no need to apologize." I hate the resentment of high school grads. This kind of interaction happened daily, and I was fed up. Ever since Director Johnson arrived, The factory's production capacity had significantly declined. When the factory manager scolded him, Johnson took out his frustration on me. One day, he deliberately spilled a box of screws I had packed for shipping. "It's your fault for putting it here. Hey, David, pick up the screws. If one is missing, you're fired." I picked up each screw scattered on the factory floor and repacked them into the cardboard box. But no matter what, I just couldn't find one missing screw. Crawling on the floor, I finally spotted it near a drain. Just as I reached out to pick it up with a sigh of relief, someone's foot kicked it into a drainage grate. Ah, the crucial screw. As I looked up, it was Manager Johnson standing there. He smirked. "So serious about a single screw. This is why high school grads are ridiculed." Feeling really irked, I retorted, "With all due respect, Manager, isn't seriousness and integrity crucial for work?" "Seriousness and integrity? You won't get ahead with that nowadays. But then again, there's no advancement for high school guys like you anyway." I barely contained my explosive anger. My clenched fists trembled with rage. The factory manager had assigned a task to all employees to come up with ideas to improve productivity. The ideas generated by each employee were collected by Manager Johnson, who would then present them at a planning meeting. I suggested that valuing seriousness and integrity in workers would boost motivation. My proposal was well received at the meeting. However, Manager Johnson claimed my idea as his own, presenting it as if he had thought of it. Seriousness and integrity. Quite a catchy phrase. If we instill this in all employees, productivity will surely increase. Typical of a college graduate. Well done, Manager Johnson. My idea was credited to Johnson. Fearing I might expose him, he used a minor mistake as an excuse to try to transfer me to a remote factory. "David, go train in the countryside for a while." "Is it because I'm an eyesore to you?" "What do you mean? If you're joking around, I'll fire you." "Understood. I quit. I've had enough of working under a despicable man like you." I confronted Johnson and left the factory. Evicted from the dormitory, I had no choice but to return to my grandparents. They worried about my unemployment. "A hard-working kid like you quitting your job? Are you feeling unwell?" "Don't worry. I'll find another job soon." Not wanting them to worry, I spent my days looking for work. However, finding a job was difficult. I later found out that the interviewer had called my previous workplace, the small-town factory, to inquire about the reasons for my resignation. The person who answered the call was Johnson, my former boss. Thanks to being falsely maligned, I didn't get hired. Unaware of this sabotage, I was disheartened by my prolonged unemployment. "Hey, isn't that you, David?" Then one day, I ran into Bob, my old friend from middle school. "Bob, is that you? It's been a while." "What's wrong? You don't look too good." "Well, actually." When I confessed I was having trouble finding a job, he patted my shoulder and smiled. "Don't worry. My dad's friend just started a new factory, and they're looking for someone with factory experience. I'll introduce you." "Really? That would be great. Thanks." Bob made a call right there and then, and a week later, I was set to go for an interview at this new factory. On the morning of the interview, I decided to wear my father's suit, of course, wearing the floral tie. I never had the chance to wear a suit because I worked in the town factory right after graduating school. Seeing me in a suit for the first time, my grandmother sighed. "From the back, you look just like your late father. It suits you well. This floral tie, it's nice, isn't it?" It was my dad's favorite. Wearing the suit, I felt as if my father was with me, and I headed to the interview with confidence. In the waiting room, several other applicants were gathered. According to what I heard, only one person would be hired. Hearing that, even I couldn't help but feel nervous. When my name was called, I walked into a room where Mr. Smith, the president, and 3 HR staff were waiting. After introducing myself, The HR team bombarded me with questions. The hardest moment was explaining why I left my previous job. I was honest about the reasons. I thought to myself, they must have called my old factory and heard all sorts of things from Johnson. This might not work out. Just as I was feeling down and about to leave the room, Mr. Smith, the president, who hadn't said a word until then, stopped me. "Where did you get that floral tie?" "This? It's a keepsake from my late father." Suddenly, Mr. Smith broke down in tears. Surprise, I just stood there. Through his tears, he asked, "Was your dad's name, by any chance, Sam?" "Yes, Sam. But how do you know that?" I was puzzled about why the president knew my father's name. Mr. Smith, wiping his tears, explained, "That suit and tie were made by my mother for Sam. That floral pattern on the tie is quite unique, so I remember it well." According to Mr. Smith, my dad, Sam, used to be his subordinate back in the day. Your dad was a sincere and honest man, someone I, as the president, could really respect. My mother was very fond of Sam. His mother owned a bespoke suit shop and had gifted a suit to my dad. He always wore worn-out suits at that time. Since there was no tie to go with the suit, Mr. Smith's mother handmade this tie, embroidering the floral pattern herself. Is that so? When you entered the room in that suit and tie, I thought Sam had come back. He continued, tears streaming down his face. Mr. Smith, the president, placed great trust in my father's integrity, and they worked together to expand the business. Sam really liked that tie. Whenever there was an important deal, he always wore that floral tie. It was his lucky tie for big occasions. Whenever he wore it, we secured contracts. After hearing this, Mr. Smith's mother was overjoyed, and the company thrived. However, one day, the president's mother fell seriously ill and had to be hospitalized. The president, deeply loving his mother, decided to step back from the business to dedicate himself to her care. Without Mr. Smith, my father lost his drive and left the company. After that, they never met again. I see. Sam passed away from an illness. I wish I could have met him at least once when he was alive. He always told me to live earnestly and sincerely. Before he passed away, he gave me this tie. Mr. Smith gently stroked the floral tie, his touch filled with reverence. I ended up working under Mr. Smith, just like the team my dad and the president used to be. The floral tie became my lucky charm for crucial deals, leading each to success. As the new factory grew, I quickly rose to the position of factory manager. Even during important contract presentations, I wore the floral tie. In the meeting room, there was another company from a rival factory. It was the factory I had resigned from before, and the one presenting was none other than Director Johnson. Johnson approached me and whispered softly in my ear, "With just a high school education, becoming a factory manager, your end is already in sight. You'd be better off running away with your tail between your legs." As usual, Johnson. When I easily dodged his remark, Johnson returned to his seat with a displeased expression. Then, the presentation battle took place. In the end, I won the contract. Seemingly frustrated at losing to me, a high school graduate, Johnson grabbed my shirt, hurled insults at me, and then stormed off. His behavior led to his dismissal from the factory. His bad reputation quickly spread throughout the industry, and the factory's performance began to decline. Ultimately, a year later, the factory was closed. It was a case of poetic justice for the executives who failed to see the true nature of a person like Johnson. As the factory thrived, Mr. Smith's long-ailing mother recovered. "I thought Sam had come to visit," she exclaimed, embracing me tearfully. "Your father was a good and honest man. Keep working hard just like him." "Yes, I will live honestly and sincerely in a way that would not bring shame to this tie." Grateful to Mr. Smith, his mother, and Bob, who introduced me to this opportunity, I vowed to continue living earnestly, honoring my father's memory.